Good morning, everyone. It's Natasha with Albums by Natasha. I'm coming to you today because I have decided that after the new year, I am going to start doing some tutorials on how I make embellishments, what items I use, tools for success, things like that. I really want to start getting into making tutorials because I have a wide variety of style that I like to make my albums with, and I would like to share that with you guys. I'm going to be getting a vlogging camera so we don't have to do, all of this with my phone anymore. But today I wanted to share with you guys the tools that I use with every project I make. Every project. The first thing here is my grain caliber. The reason I chose a grain caliber over a big shot or a big kick or anything like that is because you do have an 8.5 inch wide cutting platform. And when you're making large mini albums and things like that, you do need a large platform. I have tried the electronic die cutting machines. I went and bought a Silhouette 2 last year. Spent a pretty penny on it too. Only to bring it home and work with it a couple times and say, you know what, I'm just a traditional die cutting kind of girl. I like using my dies and placing them and knowing exactly what it is that I'm cutting without having it come out and say, oh, well, that's not where I wanted my cut to be. I could not figure out the software, and it was just a mess. So I am all for traditional die cutting. That's how I roll, guys. Next, I do use a lot of dies. Heartfelt Creations are probably some of my favorite border and flower die and stamp sets that there is on the market. I will be using them a lot. And also you will see me using Desire dies. And this is actually great because the Desire dies I'm finding a lot of in your local Tuesday mornings. As you can see, that is a huge discount for really awesome dies. Here's another one. They used it on a purse, but these look amazing in mini albums for pockets and things like that. So take a look in your local Tuesday morning. See if you can find any of these great dies. And then of course, if you're sitting there taking my tutorial or anyone else's tutorial who are using border dies like this, you don't have to use the exact same one that they're using. You can just take from whatever you have in your stash and implement that, and it'll kind of give you a bit of a difference. So the next thing I have are these small binder clips. They help me while things are drying. So you can just clip your papers and things like that together and it'll hold them down while they dry. So I get these from the dollar store. That would be probably the most cost-efficient place to get those. And I also have heavy-duty ones like this. These came in a 4-pack from Walmart. They're in the tools section where the men's tools are and things. And these are really great for getting handles down or metal embellishments or anything like that that take a long time to dry, something heavy that you just really have to put on there for about an hour or so to dry. These clamps are amazing. Next, I use a pair of titanium scissors. I use titanium specifically because my double-sided adhesive, the gummy stuff doesn't stick to these. So for the longest time I used regular scissors, and I was constantly trying to clean the gummy part of the tape that would stick to the scissors off, and eventually I just ended up ruining the scissors because I could not get the gummy stuff off. So I switched over to titanium. These can be a bit pricey, I would check Joann's, Walmart. I think I paid like $10 for these, which to me that's a lot of money for a pair of scissors, but it was worth it. It was really worth it because now I'm not wasting a lot of time and I'm not ruining pair of scissors after pair of scissors trying to get that gummy stuff off. So speaking of gummy stuff, I use double-sided adhesive. You can see here I have a thick, a medium, and a small. And I basically choose what size of this I'm going to use based on the application. If I'm just trying to get a magnet down, I'll take this and put it over the magnet because you don't need a thick piece of tape for that. Now if I'm putting my base page into my book, then I'll use something like this. A lot of adhesive. And then of course I have my medium here, which is, you know, just maybe if I run out of this, then I'll use this and some glue to try to get my pages in. Next adhesive. This Art Glitter Dries Clear Designer Adhesive. I know it probably can't be the first time you've seen it. The paper crafting world is crazy over this glue. And I understand why after using it. Now it is the only glue that I will use because it is the only glue that has not warped my paper and as you can see it has this fine tip with a pen, so it conserves the amount of glue that you use for every project. One of these small 2-ounce bottles can get me through at least 3 large mini albums. And when I say large mini albums, I make some pretty big mini albums. 8 by 10, 14 pages, that's a lot of paper and a lot of glue. So this little bottle packs a lot of punch. And since I'm so crazy about it, I actually get backup refills in this 8-ounce. And I just refill the bottle. Okay. The next thing you'll see me use a lot is this Spellbinders Tool-in-One. Number one, this point is perfect for getting the backing off of your tape. You just simply slide this underneath of the backing and just pull it off, because if you're sitting here with your fingers trying to peel that tape backing back, it takes a lot of time and can be frustrating. And then I do use a lot of intricate dies, so this little brush, you roll it over your die and it gets all the little pieces of paper out. And then of course, if there's some that you just can't get out, this little point, you can poke it right through and it'll fall right out. The next thing I have is this Fiskars cutting board. I have used a lot of cutting boards and this is the best one by far. It has a little wire in there where you can see exactly where your cut is going to be, whether it's going to be straight or not. And this little notch you can see has a crosshairs built into it, so you can even cut perfect corners and things like that out of a piece of paper, which comes very useful. So that's that. And scoring boards. I started off with this tiny little Martha Stewart scoring board because I just did not want to pay $30 for a large scoring board. And while this did get the job done, it was not without hardship because, like I said, I make a lot of large mini albums, and this just doesn't work good with large pieces of paper. I mean, can you do it? Yes, of course you can do it. It's going to take you twice as long to do it, and chances are it's not going to come out as nice as if you were using these large scoring boards. I did get this one from Joann Fabrics, and I used one of my 50% off coupons, so I got it for $15 rather than $30. And if you don't have a large scoring board and you do have a Joann's in your area and you shop there enough to get the 50% off coupons, I would definitely suggest this. This is being one of your main tools that you're going to want to invest in. So next I use punches. And these are great for beginners. Beginners who do not have die cutting machines. You don't have the money to invest in a lot of dies or anything like that. You can grow your paper punch collection. And I would suggest a good range of the thinner border punches. These are about 1 inch. And then the 1.5 inch larger punches. That way you've got some variety to run through your book. These are Martha Stewart, and the Martha Stewart punches are becoming almost impossible to find. I actually found these in AC Moore, and I think the larger ones, they do run about 25 bucks a piece. But like I said, they are very hard to find. I know you can find the EK Success punches, the border punches. This might be something that you're going to have to look online for, just because they are a nuisance to find. So the next thing I use are these pop dots, and I find myself using them more and more every day. They add dimension to your projects, and they're great. These I picked up at Joann Fabrics. They are $1.99, and you get a whole sheet of small ones and a whole sheet of the larger ones. So that's a great value, $1.99 for these. However, you can use these 3D Zots. These are quite a bit more expensive. These are with Joann's as well, and I think you can get them at a lot of online shops as well. These are basically the same thing as these, only a more expensive version. So the next thing you're going to want is, of course, a paper pack. For smaller projects, I tend to go with these Echo Park paper packs because, as you can see, you've got a sticker sheet, you've got small cut-aparts, you've got large cut-aparts, and then, of course, you've got all your paper. So essentially, you have everything that you would need right here in this paper pack to do a small project, like a folio or a traveler's notebook or something like that. And I think that's probably what my first tutorial project is going to be. That way we can just get everybody on the same page as far as maybe if I do things differently than a lot of the other tutorials that you have watched. Or maybe if you're just a beginner, a nice small project to teach you all of the basics, I think would be probably the way to go. So next, you're going to want some solid cardstock. It doesn't matter what color. I generally choose something that matches with the paper collection that I'm going to use. So if I were to use this fall air pack, I would either go with black or craft. It's probably just my taste. You could also use white. This Paper Studio paper, I find this at Hobby Lobby, and you can see the regular price is $8.99, but very regularly Hobby Lobby has 50% off paper sales. And I go during that time and basically just stock up on these because $4 and some cents is a pretty good price for a full pack of 8.5 by 11, especially with the heavy weight. I like working with papers that are very, very heavyweight. Some of the other coordinations, which I actually have right down here, this is not nearly as thick as the Paper Studio papers that I get, but I happened to pick these up from Tuesday morning for $2.99, and it was like, okay, we need to make it work for $2.99. And like I said, I did start out using coordinations, and after I found this Paper Studio paper, I pretty much never looked back. Basil Basics is also another amazing brand for paper. Generally, I find it 12 by 12 size, and occasionally I can find packs of that in Tuesday morning. So if you see any of that in Tuesday morning, you might want to pick that up as well and just hoard it for another project. The next thing you're going to want is medium weight chipboard. It does not matter what size you get it in. I'm sorry, I meant what color. You do want 12 by 12 sheets because I don't know what the size of the project is that I'm going to be using, but you can see here it's medium weight. Now I think the cereal boxes and stuff like that people are using, they have to double up on that in order to make it the right thickness. They have to take two pieces, cut it the same size, and glue them together, which is just not something I want to take the time to do. So I do go out and buy this. I get this off Amazon. I think it comes with 25 sheets and it's like 15 bucks, but the 25 sheets of this will last you a long time, so it is well worth the money. Alrighty guys, those are my tools for success that I use pretty much on every project. And I think next time I'll go over embellishments. I wanted to do that as a whole video by itself because I use so many different things to embellish my books. I don't stick to just flowers or just lace. I do a lot of jewelry crafting, things like that, and we'll go over that in another video. Thanks for watching, guys.